Hi, so today, some of you may know that I suffer from an injury on my left foot. I'm not going to get into why I have that or why it affects me on a day-to-day basis because that's really boring. What I'm going to be talking about today is how I get around and how my day-to-day life is. But first, the intro. So today we're mainly going to be talking about the iWalk 3. Now, a couple of you may have seen the video where I climbed Earl's Seat using only an iWalk 3 on one leg and obviously my other foot on the other. But today I'm going to be talking about what the iWalk 3 is like for day-to-day use as well as those longer trips, and also about how far I have gone on it and how it's holding up. This here is my iWalk 3. This is the same one that I took up Earl's Seat in that monumental effort where I climbed from the base at sea level to the top in one day using only this and with no help from anyone else while making a video for you guys. So if you haven't seen that video, I would love for you guys to check it out. I'll link it at the end of this video. I'll also drop a link down in the description. Anyway, for those of you who haven't seen it, here are a couple of brief highlights that are my favourite parts from that video. So I am at the top of the hill right now, and I have climbed the whole thing, all 450 metres of it, using this iWalk 3. So, that was absolutely splendid. But let's talk about this. This is the iWalk 3 and I absolutely love it. Now, this is my daily one that I use day to day, so there's a bit of damage. The plastic up here is damaged, it's chipped off. There's also some damage on the inside here. That is because I've done over 250,000 steps on it. I've actually done over 300,050 at this point. That is because I was supposed to be doing it at 250,000 steps, but I did want to get a new one here to unbox for you guys, and it was quite difficult for me to get, but that is here and that unboxing will be coming up. But for now, let's talk about how I use this on a daily basis. So, let's talk about how I use the iWalk 3. Now, I typically use it for walking to and from bus stops. I don't have a car anymore for a multitude of reasons, mostly because they won't let me drive without doing a whole bunch of stuff to say, look, you can drive, you've got a buggered foot, but you can drive. So I use the iWalk 3 to get between trains, buses, underground trains, overground trains, trams, taxis, whatever, I'm using it like that. But that's specific to my use case. Most people, including me though, will be using it just for everyday walking. So that's walking to the shops and back, walking around shops, and generally walking around places, sightseeing, whatever you want to do. I'll be wearing an iWalk 3 to do all of that. So let's talk about the pros and cons of the iWalk 3. Now, I personally love this thing, so there may be some biases here. I will do my absolute best to keep it unbiased, but as it is something I use on a day-to-day basis, I'm not going to pretend like I haven't adapted things and I haven't done stuff to make my life easier with it. The first pro of the iWalk 3 is the fact that you have your hands free to carry things. When I was using crutches on a day-to-day basis, it was very difficult for me to carry things because I was using my arms on the crutches and I was going around like this, so I was using my teeth to do a lot of carrying, which was less than ideal. The next is the distance I can go on it. Now, obviously climbing Earl's Seat was a major achievement. That was 21 miles. That was almost a marathon on this, and that caused so many issues for me, but I could do it. Now, obviously I wouldn't be recommending that, but on crutches, even a quarter of a mile is an absolute no-go. So you really do get that extra distance that you wouldn't ordinarily have. The next thing is the ease of use. Well, sort of the ease of use. When I first got this, as I mentioned earlier, I could not walk on it. I really struggled with every step. But once I learned how to use it, my muscles adapted, I grew bigger new muscles, I was able to walk, and now it's effectively like having a leg. I don't notice it necessarily when I'm just walking around. It kind of just feels like I'm walking normally, which is amazing because it's the first time out of anything I've tried that I've really got that feeling. So that's the three main pros of the iWalk 3. Now let's move on to the three main cons of the iWalk 3. The biggest one by a mile is the chafing. So I will end up with bruised knee, bleeding knee, I'll end up with a massive chafing around the top of my thigh as well as some chafing on the upper part of my shin. This can be quite painful, but using the correct pieces of foam in the correct places, I've more or less negated the worst of it, but unfortunately I do just have to suck up a fair amount of chafing and a fair amount of pain when I'm using the iWalk 3, so that's a definite con. The second thing is the durability and build quality of this is slightly lacking. Now, I'm an extreme user, so this might be unique to me, but as I mentioned earlier, there is some damage up the top here, the pads are wearing out, and this knee pad here is getting squished down, so it's less thick than it was previously before I started using it. There's also some wobble in this. Now, this does help, so when this bit's loose, the bottom bit wobbles inside of the tube, but now I'm having wobble coming from these plastic bits here, so this whole bit wobbles relative to the knee bit, which is a con because I effectively now need to get a new one, which I have got, and we'll be unboxing that later in the video, so stay tuned and don't click off. The final con is it really struggles over uneven ground. You only have your hip to lift the knee crutch up, which means you are very limited in the terrain you can go over, unless you want to take a couple of falls like I did in my Earl's Seat video. However, provided you're on footpaths most of the time and you have easy access to elevators, stairs are really slow on this. They're doable, but they're slow. As long as you have access to elevators, you can get around no problem, so that's not an issue for most people. But for me, that is an issue, so I felt the need to include that in the video. Now let's talk about some neutral things, which I want to mention, but I don't think I can put them in a pro or a con category. So first one is the fitness. This is incredibly difficult to use, so you will build up a lot of fitness using it, which is fantastic, but when you first start out, it is going to be difficult, especially because most people have had a long period of inactivity before getting on it. When I first got it, I was already quite fit at my fitness level, so I wasn't struggling as much as other people would be, but it is effectively like going everywhere as a light jog in terms of difficulty. So you will be more out of breath, but don't worry, you're not as unfit as you think you are. You may be slightly unfit, but it is very difficult to walk with, and on longer journeys you will end up with a bit of cramp. The second in-between thing, also the last in-between things, I don't know why I made this a category, I should have just said there were a couple of in-between things. But the second thing is the cost. It's not particularly expensive, it's about €200, but it's also not particularly cheap. Compared to crutches, it's considerably more expensive, but when being compared to a wheelchair, a mobility scooter, it's considerably less expensive. But you will need to replace it more often than a wheelchair, so that can go either way. I haven't got a direct apples to apples comparison. I have here a brand new iWalk 3.0 iWalk 3. Now, the box is in French or something, I can't read it, but it basically says iWalk 3 better mobility kind of thing, which is great. So let's take it out, show you guys what you get and how to put it together. I haven't done many unboxings, but I'll do my absolute best here to give you the best insight possible. Inside the box you have a bag, and this bag contains pretty much the entire leg. So with that gone, the box is empty. When we cut into this bag, there are some small components, so be careful not to lose them. I can't remember if they're in a separate bag or not, but we'll see soon. With the bag open, we get that nice new rubber smell. I love that. It's not going to last long, but we do get that smell for now. So, we have the foot. So this is the bottom bit of the leg. This is the bit that goes on the ground. We then have the knee plate, which is where your knee goes. I'll compare that to my other one later. That looks a little bit different. I'm running out of desk space, what the heck? On my keyboard. We get the top bit. This is where your upper thigh goes. It's not actually assembled, so you do need to put the side bits on for that. Again, we'll put that down there. What did I drop? You also get the straps. They hold it onto your leg. Vitally important. There's some more straps. Let me just get them out. They're in a bag, these ones. And finally, I'm assuming we'll get the rest of the parts for assembling it. These held this leg to the knee bit, and we should get the two side bits for the thigh, and I believe that is everything. Yep, that's it. Bag's empty, just an instruction booklet in there. So, let's get to assembling it. Show you how to put it together. So we take the foot, and it does have a diagram on here, but whichever leg you're using it on, you want the foot pointing away from you. So if it's your left leg, you want your right leg coming down parallel to it like that. If it's your right leg, you want your left leg coming down like that. If you have it this way, you're going to step on it and going to trip over repeatedly. We also have this bit, which is the knee bit, and this is what forces our orientation. So at the front here, there's two holes, that one and that one. So that's how you know it's the front. You take this leg, there's a press stud in the side, there's also a hole here. We put it in, and then we take our bottom foot and we rotate it. Sorry, take the pin out first. Then we rotate it to be pointing the direction we want it to be for our particular condition. You have the iWalk 3 written on the front. Now that faces away from you. Just hold it like that, away from you. Next we get these, which are the two top pads. These go around your thigh. So to attach them, we have these blue pieces up here. We need to completely unscrew them. So you have to keep unscrewing until you have the piece off in your hand. Then you open this bag, My apologies, I'm being stumped by a plastic bag. There we go. And we take our pieces, and these are directional, so we need to put one on the right side, one on the left side. So I've undone the left one, I have the right piece here. If I put it on, you can see the foam pad doesn't line up, wrong side. We grab the correct side, plonk that on. Now it doesn't matter what angle it's on at this point, just do this top bit up. Not too tight, just hand tight. Exactly the same on the other side. Alright, so next we grab our assembled thing with the bottom foot on and our two top pieces. So with this, front here with the two holes, we line up with the front. It's got like a moose horn on it, and we just slide this into here. So like that. Next step, to secure that, we get these two round metal tube things and we line them up, press stud facing outwards, and put it in the hole. These are directional, so you need to put the correct one on the correct side. So you want them to come, which way is the camera? Diagonally back like that to meet up with this point here. Same on the other side. Great. Next, grab your pin through the hole. There's a little clamp here. Often it's loose, mine isn't. So we just take our pin and we put it through that hole. Do it up. Sorry, I need the table for this because it's difficult. So we want it to look like, focus on the thing, like that. So the pin goes through both these side pieces and that bottom clamp. Now you have that, you effectively have a compressed iWalk 3. Grab your straps. On one end they have a black clip, on the other they have a blue clip. You want the black clip on the inside next to your other leg. Also on the side that's cut off on this. My sincerest apologies, my camera ran out of battery. But I was saying you want the black side of the strap on the inside of the leg. Now, we're ready to start fitting it. The first thing we want to do is fit it to our leg. So, at the top, we have these two panels. Now, expand them out till they're considerably wider than your leg. Then put the iWalk on your leg like that, knee bent. At this point, undo the two blue top pieces and push the two side pieces in so they clamp around your thigh like that. Not too tight that they're painful, but you do want them to be pretty tight, but you want even pressure. Then just do up the two clamps like that. Let me move back a bit, maybe I can get more in shot. Then grab your strap. You should have put it on already. I put mine on the wrong side, which was stupid. And to do up the strap, loosen the black section of the strap. So inside here, there's a blue section and a black section. We loosen the black section by pulling it. Then we put it on our leg. Like so. Pull the blue clip over and pull it back. Now tighten the black section. That should be mediocre tight. You don't want it too tight. At this point you can take your pad that you just removed, put it back on the... Great. Now just adjust the bottom bit basically until it feels okay, then drop it down a notch. So it's shorter than it feels like it should be. You want to feel lopsided at the start. Don't worry, you can put it up once you get comfortable walking like that. Now, I initially was just able to walk along the edge of a counter because I had no friends to teach me. Wow! However, if you do have friends, get them to try and hold you up so you have less strain on your upper body, which makes it easier to learn to walk. Once you're comfortable with that, keep incrementally upping it until one day you'll up it and you'll go, actually, nah, we'll keep it the same height we had it before, then you're done. Alright, that's it for today's video. Please drop a like and subscribe, but only if you want to. And I would recommend checking out my video climbing Earl's Seat. We'll make a new YouTube video next week. Bye for now.